Mary Magdalene's life is a remarkable journey from darkness to light, from despair to hope. She is often remembered as the faithful disciple who stood by Jesus at the cross and witnessed his resurrection. However, misconceptions about her identity have clouded her legacy. In this narrative, we delve into the real biblical story of Mary Magdalene, a woman transformed by grace, unwavering in faith, and entrusted with the most important message of all, the news of the risen Christ. Mary Magdalene appears multiple times in the Gospels, her name closely associated with Jesus' ministry, death, and resurrection. Contrary to popular belief, there is no biblical evidence that she was a prostitute or the sinful woman mentioned elsewhere. What the Bible reveals instead is a woman who was delivered from demonic oppression, became a devoted follower of Christ, and ultimately became the first witness of his resurrection. In the town of Magdala, on the shores of the Sea of Galilee, Mary lived under the torment of 7 demons. She may have experienced physical, emotional, or spiritual anguish, isolated from others, with no hope of escape. But then, Jesus of Nazareth entered her life. Luke 8:2 introduces her as Mary called Magdalene, from whom 7 demons had gone out. The encounter with Jesus changed everything. With a word of his power, he set her free from bondage. The darkness that once overwhelmed her was replaced with light. From that moment, Mary became one of Jesus' closest followers. She traveled with him and his disciples, along with other women, such as Joanna and Susanna, who supported Jesus' ministry from their own means. Mary's life now had purpose: to serve and follow the one who had given her a new beginning. Mary Magdalene followed Jesus wherever he went, listening to his teachings and helping meet the needs of the disciples. She was present not only for his miracles and parables, but also for the growing opposition he faced from religious leaders. Though women in that era were often relegated to the background, Jesus included them as key participants in his mission. Mary Magdalene's presence as part of this inner circle demonstrated her devotion and strength. As Jesus' ministry grew, so did the tension with the religious authorities. But Mary and the other women stood firm. Their faith was grounded in their personal experience of Christ's love and redemption. When the disciples fled in fear at Jesus' arrest, Mary remained faithful. She followed him to Golgotha, the place of the skull, where he was crucified. Mary stood at the foot of the cross with Mary, the mother of Jesus, and the Apostle John. Her heart must have broken as she watched her Lord suffer, mocked by the crowds and tortured by the Roman soldiers. Despite the agony of seeing Jesus crucified, Mary did not abandon him. She stood close, witnessing every painful moment. Her love for him kept her rooted, even in the face of overwhelming sorrow. After Jesus breathed his last, Mary watched as Joseph of Arimathea and Nicodemus placed his lifeless body in a tomb. The heavy stone rolled into place, sealing not just the entrance to the tomb, but, for Mary, what seemed like the end of all hope. Early on the morning of the 3rd day, Mary Magdalene went to the tomb with other women to anoint Jesus' body with spices. But when they arrived, they found the stone rolled away and the tomb empty. Mary was heartbroken, thinking someone had taken the Lord's body. As she wept, she noticed a man nearby. Believing him to be the gardener, she pleaded, "Sir, if you have carried him away, tell me where you have laid him, and I will take him away." Then the man spoke her name, Mary. In that instant, she recognized him. It was Jesus, alive. Overwhelmed with joy, she fell at his feet. Jesus told her, "Do not cling to me, for I have not yet ascended to the Father. Go and tell my brothers." Mary Magdalene was the first person to encounter the risen Christ, a privilege not given to kings, priests, or even his closest apostles. Jesus entrusted her with the greatest message of all, the news of his resurrection. Mary ran to tell the disciples, saying, "I have seen the Lord." Her words marked the beginning of a movement that would spread across the world. The message that death had been defeated and Jesus was alive. Though women's testimonies were often dismissed in that culture, Jesus chose Mary to be the apostle to the apostles, delivering the news that would change history forever. The Bible does not provide further details about Mary Magdalene's life after the resurrection. However, her presence at the tomb and her role in proclaiming the risen Christ ensured her legacy as a faithful disciple. Mary's life exemplified the transforming power of grace, showing that no one is beyond the reach of God's love. Mary Magdalene's story is not one of scandal or shame, but of redemption, faith, and purpose. She was a woman transformed by Jesus, dedicated to his ministry, and privileged to witness his victory over death. Her unwavering devotion is a reminder that Jesus calls each of us by name and invites us into a life of purpose and hope. Mary's legacy lives on, not just in the pages of Scripture, but in the hearts of all who, like her, have experienced the transforming power of Christ's love.